because it's such a long area. And the average speed of an 01 bird dog was like 32 knots with all the garbage weight hanging on it. And T28,
32 knots? You said 32?
32. And you had all these rocket tubes and antennas and everything else hanging from them. And so we really didn't have much speed available unless we were going downhill. Then we get up to about 80.
Oh boy.
But
okay.
That papered some interesting times when the winds were high. But I had this mission to go out and fly 280 miles away up near a place called Harley's Valley, which is one of the routes from North Vietnam into the trail in Laos. And we had a Marine guy up there in the mountain, and he was a sniper, and he was supposed to hit the paymaster on a bicycle. And my mission was to go there at sunset, listen up on a frequency, and put him to bed at night. Go out the next morning, make certain he's still alive, everything's going good, and if there's any success in the mission last night, and then go home. So I'm going up there, my T-28, loud as hell, big old rotary engine, my feet are burning up and everything, and I'm sitting there waiting. All of a sudden this voice comes up and says, "Hey, Raven, are you there?" I hit the mic button and said, "Yeah." Whoa, wait a minute, why am I whispering? I'm not around here, right? Another time, I went out, got a target, put in a set of fighters. The first guy, I put him on some BS target, and he threaded the needle and blew it up right away. I said, "Oh, you got two. Are you as good as leading?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, come on, follow me." So I moved over a little bit and had my hip pocket target, the one I really wanted to get. And I put in the smoke for him, and man, they were throwing bombs all over the place. I mean, 100% within 5 miles type of deliveries. This is a fleeting target. It's going to go away in the next couple hours. So I raced home, got to a set of T-28s getting ready for takeoff, pulled my T-28 up, or my 01 bird dog right in front of the last T-28 in line, got out of the aircraft, went up, bounced up in the wing of T-28, banged on the canopy, and the guy opens up, and I paid him $5 in local currency, and he gave me the airplane full of bombs. I went out, raced out, bombed the target myself, came back, put it on the ground, and went back to the 01 bird dog, called in another set of fighters, and gave them the BDA. When we did stuff like that, which is totally illegal, what we do is we take our name and transpose the initials around. So someplace in your logbooks, you will see Sanjay. My name is John R. Sanderson. I just transposed the initials around the name until it sounded Oriental. Sanjay. And that's what I signed. It's the guy responsible for flying that aircraft in that time period. Putting in a set of F4s, and the only target I have is a ZPU-23. Brand new gun. We didn't really understand the characteristics of this thing, but it can only go up to about 60 degrees high at that time. And so these F4s are rolling in, and like I said, slinging bombs everywhere. And they're afraid of getting shot, so they're doing these high altitude deliveries, almost sky spots, and they aren't doing very well. Up comes this T-28 guy. He's a lone pilot on his own. Sometimes they did that. And this guy's name was Peabon. Peabon shows up and says, "Hey, Raven, can I take trial?" F4's hold hard right. This guy rolls in about 90-degree dive bomb. One bomb takes out the sight, goes off. Here's these F4 saying, "Oh, who was that masked man?" That's just the way the war was. Anybody have any questions?
Wow.
Yes.
For the T-28, did you have to go back to, was it in Rolbert field where you did the T-28 train, or did they do everything over in country?
It's kind of funny you ask, because the guy I went to pilot training with in Laredo, he was number one, I was number 2. We both got F-100s. We both went over to Vietnam, or Southeast Asia. He went to Thailand to teach Laotian and Thai T-28 pilots initial pilot training and took them through weaponry. And I went over there in Vietnam, flying my O2 Skymaster, and ended up coming over, and we were not in the same exact unit, but we were in the same unit. We Ravens, we were sheep dipped. We left our Air Force identity cards, all of our uniforms taken away from us, slave clothes only, Laotian embassy card, and a driver's license, and that was it. And so 56 Special Operation Detachment 1. Steve Nagel was assigned to Detachment 1 as a T-28 pilot. He checked me out in the T-28 right there in Thailand. In 3 days, I'm good. Since I was a F-100 guy, gunnery was easy, everything was easy in the airplane, just learning how to go ahead and count 5 props, put the mixture, the ignition, go for it. A little bit extra rudder than the 01 Bird Dog needed for takeoff roll, but that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we taught there.
Where were you based in Laos, and what were your conditions like there?
I was based in Savannah
Yeah.
for the first part of the tour, then the last half I was up in Longchen. We called it the vertical speed break. There's a couple pictures here. Essentially, it was mountains on both sides, harsh mountains, and the runway ended.
That's the picture right there behind you. That's
it.
That's it.
A skyline bridge in the back.
Yep.
And I finished half my tour there. In Savannah Cap, my targets were the trail, or the areas where the folks on the trail, because they only worked at night, and I could go ahead and hunt for them during the day, and they bivouacked halfway between the trail and Savannah Cap, 12, 13 miles away from our town. Some nights I spent behind enemy lines with the brigade guerrilla unit, and landed on the road and just put the aircraft to bed and take off and close to the target area. It was that kind of a war. The second half I was up there in the Longchen, and at the time the house, the facility we lived in had been destroyed by the Viet Minh, and so we were operating out of Vien Chinh. We go up to Longchen, which was the vertical speed break runway, and operate for the afternoon, and then fly home at night and stay in bed during Vien Chinh. Living conditions in Vien Chinh, we lived in a 3-story mansion called Ice House 2. The 3rd floor was for the Ravens. Middle floor was for the downtowners, the MC guys, and the bottom floor was for the maids, cooks, and so forth, and a common living room facility and so forth there. It was rather nice accommodation to get right down to it. And in Savannah Cap, it was somewhat similar, 2-story building, and it was good living. We, all of us Ravens, put our common subsistence allowance together, and one guy would be chosen to go down to Bangkok and go to the commissary and pick up all the foodstuffs we wanted, and the rest was taken from the local market. So we ate local as well as supplemented by a case of steaks, some eggs and so forth from the place of Bangkok.
Did you ever go back?
Never did. Well, I went back for another tour in F4s in Korat. After that, went to the Philippines several years after that. What was my career like? Started off in F-100s, went over there to the 3rd Brigade, 101st Airborne Division, then over to Laos, back to Korat in F4s, Torrejon, Spain, in the F4s, sat Nuke Alert, elected or identified and sent over to the aggressors, dirty, rotten, pickle combi bastards in the U.S. Air Force, lived, read, taught, fought Soviet, flew Soviet style, metric altitudes, metric airspeeds, and the airplanes that colored just like the MiGs, and flew their tactics. And did that in Europe for 2 years, and did that in the Philippines, then went to F-15s in Bitburg, and F-15s in Holland. So I flew all 20 years, which is rare in the Air Force, and made rank the whole time.
Wow.
Like I say, I kept my mouth shut. No one knew I was doing this stuff before, but it was a little bit odd when I go to a new wing and the wing commander's reviewing my background, and all of a sudden he sees 1,300 hours of combat. Love it. Average fighter pilot got 250 hours a year of combat. 6 years in combat? What do you do? Classified.
Perfect.
Stopped it right there. So I'm in my last year, I'm getting ready to retire out of the Air Force. I'm walking down the hall. I had become a stickler on rules and regulations because violating so much as we did in Laos, I learned my lesson. You violate rules, most of those rules are written in blood, and so I became a stickler on adherence to rules and regulations the rest of my career. Well, this little lieutenant walks out of a briefing room ready to go fly, and for the last 2 weeks, these guys have been getting out of my way every time I walk around the squadron building. And they got hair up their butt. whatever it is, they'll get over it. And this kid walks straight at me, and he's got something in his bottom pocket. And in the F-15, if you got something in your bottom pocket, you put your G suit over the top of it, and you end up ejected, you'll break your leg. So you couldn't have anything in your bottom pocket, even a hat. You couldn't even have down there. And so I'm getting ready to dress him down. He comes up, puts his hand down, reaches down, pulls out a paperback copy of the Ravens, and says, goes to page 327 in there, and there's the alphabetical listing of it. It's the only place where my name's listed in the book. He says, "Is this you?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "You son of a bitch, you'll never get me for violating rules and regulations again." And it's found me out.
Now, what rank were you?
At that time? Yeah, a colonel. But, yeah, it was interesting times.
Wow.
Great tour. Flying career's been great. Still flying. Corporate. Any other questions?
Wow.
Well, thank you all. I went and brought a couple extra books to the Raven, and I'll sign them for anybody who wants them. I'm not selling them. I'm giving them to you. I can't sell them. But in the back page, there is a little small thing called Edgar Allan Poe Literary Society, which is the